he got a hold of the wrong city. And I'm saying it because Atlanta's a little more faster than Columbus. Someone
Well,
would have,
but I guess you
and
were the
in
one that brought him
Columbus,
down here, right?
I know that, hey, hey, I tried to think like you when you thinking like, hey, I'm gonna move my son to this area because this is a popular area to pursue his music, to pursue what he wants, to get my son successful. Let me put him on the right track. You don't think that you're gonna take him out there and it's gonna turn like this?
How did it feel the first time that you saw him on my YouTube channel?
It was a bunch of mixed emotions. Like I was mad at you, I was mad at everybody, I was mad at him, and then I'm just sitting there like,
I'm still trying to figure out, like, okay, what made him leave from you?
yeah, that's why he said his dad was dead. That's how he was looking at it for a long time.
Well,
James,
he
while I
he's
was,
he's
while,
he said that you was dead
yeah,
recently.
and then yeah, I know. Then he said I
What were
was
your
dead.
thoughts
I was
on that
just
when he
like,
said that?
whoa. It's because when Josias does not get his way, that's who you are to them. You're dead to him once he can't get his way out of you.
Hmm.
What's up, YouTube? Man, it looks like things are heating up for summer 23. So stay tapped in. Now back to the content.
Both him and James have, you know, mentioned that facility, and it sounds like that was a place that Josiah just did not want to be.
He didn't want to be, but Josias, when he acts out and he acts out on the wrong people, like the reason why he went was because of an incident that happened in the school district when he was inside of school district in Columbus.
What was the incident?
It was more or less like he was starting fires, picking on people in school, messing with officers, officials there that's working in the school. Like you can't be sitting there messing with the officers and going at them as if they're picking with you.
So modern day Dennis the Menace, just
Yes. Yes.
just even worse. I got you.
Yes.
Okay.
So and
So
then still to this day, I tell him, I see him on his TikTok, all of that, and I'd be like, whenever you want to come home, the door is still always open. But no, I can't chase Josiah.
what is his response when you send those messages?
All he wants is money. He wants me to feed his habit. All he wants is money.
So I mean, and so okay, so you got him down here. So
I
basically
don't even know
after
how he got back.
you had won custody, you had came down here to Atlanta. How long was you down here in Atlanta before he dipped out?
And we was there for about, let's see, did he turn 18 that year or the next year? He turned 18 that year, so we wasn't there that long. Soon as he left, and y'all first did that interview when he said he was 21 or
29.
20 some 29,
It's
he was
29.
18, child. He was
He was
18.
18 or 19.
He was 18 when he
How
said he
old
was
is he now?
29. Josiah is 20 years old.
Okay, well he must have been 19 because when I met him last year, it was right
Mm.
around this time
Oh,
last year.
last year,
Uh-huh.
yeah, yes, 2003. So yeah, he's 20. He is not. No, no.
Okay, so I mean, so I mean, I guess it sounds like
Oh, look. See, I don't. That's no. Josiah is 21. I'm right. We're wrong. Josiah is 21. 5'7", 2003. Josiah is 21.
well then that makes him 20 because it's
He'll be
2023.
21 next year.
Yeah, he'll be 21 next year.
Hmm.
He'll be 21 in May. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, we got to get him there. we, we got to get him there. Okay, but
I
and
talked to
so
a
and so
couple
I'm
of
trying.
other
I'm
people.
still trying to figure out like okay, what made him leave from you?
Because he didn't want to take his medicine anymore. He didn't want to listen to the rules. We're staying with somebody. If someone says you have to come in at a certain time, you have to come in at a certain time. He don't like rules. He don't like to listen to no one's rules. He don't want to take his medicine. He don't want to take if he don't feel like taking a shower, he shouldn't feel like he have to take a shower. If he
Oh, I
want to
know
have
that.
company,
Trust
if
me.
he want to have company over or all his girlfriends and friends to come over, he feels like he should be able to have that. And you can. You got other small children that's in the home watching you.
I get it. I get it. I get it. So, I mean, okay. So here we are. You know, he left the house. I understand all that stuff you just said for sure. And I agree with it, right? Um, but how did it feel the first time that you saw him on my YouTube channel?
It was a bunch of mixed emotions. Like, I was mad at you. I was mad at everybody. I was mad at him. And then I'm just sitting there like the crowd that he's around, and I see some people walking up to him like, "I'm his aunt. I'm his aunt. I'm this. Y'all ain't his aunt. Y'all not his sister. That's not his brother. That's not his." I'm looking like, what?
It's called Street
But
Family.
Josias loves a show. He loves a show. He's when he was little, that's all he kept talking about. When he came home at 14 and we had joint custody at the time before he went to that place because they was going to try it. They was like, hey, he goes over here for holidays, he comes over there for holidays. When they was doing that, Josiah loved the attention. He's always an attention person. He's
Okay.
always loved music. He's always liked to be the show, and that he wants to be a rapper and go far. Atlanta to him was like, "Oh, I'm gonna make it big here. I'm gonna do this." Josiah can build. He was at this one school that I signed him up for, where he can make artificial hands and legs
Mm.
for people that don't have any limbs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Josiah is smart, smart. But if you sit there and let it go to waste, or get a hold of, or be around in the wrong crowd and get a hold of stuff that he's on right now, no, that's not Josiah. That's somebody else.
So let me ask, I mean, because you mentioned that you was mad at me. What
Yeah,
was
because
the
you
thought
reached out to
process?
James first, and it was like a backslide. And I was sitting there like, I'm sending messages like, reach out to me, reach out to me. It was like
So I
the
don't
look on Josiah's face when you first contacted James. I was like, here we go. He's about to go back now. It's like two, three steps back, because here come all the pain and all the bull crap that he has to endure again. When before, he wasn't even thinking about him. He would have never suspect that you probably would have called his dad. He would have never suspect that. That's why he said his dad was dead. That's how he was looking at it for a long time.
well
James,
he
while I
he's
was
he's
why,
he said that you was dead recently.
yeah, and then yeah, I know. Then he said I
What were
was
your
dead.
thoughts
I
on
was
that
just
when he
like,
said that?
whoa. It's because when Josiah does not get his way, that's who you are to them. You're dead to him once he can't get his way out of you.
Mm,
That's
okay.
how he thinks. That's how he
Okay.
thinks. I'm not about to be, I'm a revolving door to a certain extent. You're not about to bring the whole hood in my house.
No, I get it. I get it. So okay, so I mean, bottom line is that you saw him on my channel. And nobody listen. I actually nobody knows, right? I actually did an interview with Josiah before the first interview that everybody saw, and it
Hmm.
was terrible. It was so dry. It was like just like 8 minutes long. It was a horrible interview. So I would have never thought that after that first time seeing him, that he would have became like such a character on my channel and such a
Hmm.
popular person. You know what I'm saying? That people like to watch and hear from. As that was occurring, what were your thoughts? Like
I was
video
just
after
hurt. Like, I
video
was
and just getting
really,
views after views.
I, I was just really emotional. I was really emotionally hurt that he was out there like that. When he very first left, and he was in the streets for his very first night, I did not sleep. I kept riding around, didn't know where I was going. I'm not knowing Atlanta. I've never been to Atlanta. I'm new to Atlanta as well. So I'm like, I don't know the first place to look. I'm where my family and I is all frantic, sitting there calling, Salvation armies and shelters and everywhere trying to look for Josiah. That was the worst day of my life. Cause I just was just sitting there thinking like, this boy's not on his medicine. Someone can hurt him. Someone can think that he's a predator and shoot him or something. Like, it was all kinds of stuff going through my mind. I didn't come home from prison to get custody of my son for him to be out there in the street doing what he doing and acting how he acting. I didn't come home for him to be. I came home to be with my son. I came home for my kids. I came home, got a job, worked to get my kids home.
Well,
I didn't come
let me ask.
for them to come
I'm
do
gonna
all that.
interject real quick, and it asks a somewhat tough question. Um, do you think that if you would have never kind of came back into his life, do you think that he would be where he's at now? Or do you
Yes,
think that he was more
honestly.
so on his track
Mm-mm.
where he was going to be, you know, just kind of more of a regular type of kid?
He was gonna get on. He was gonna get there, whether it was in Atlanta or in Columbus. He was gonna get there because he had already was saying to his grandparents he was tired of living under people's roof, tired of listening to his rules. Once he turned 18, he was out of there. He was saying that from the gate. It's just it just so happened that he got a hold of the wrong city. And I'm saying it because Atlanta's a little more faster than Columbus. Someone
Well,
would have
but I guess you
and
were the
in
one that brought him
Columbus
down here, right?
I know that, hey, hey, I tried to think like you when you thinking like, hey, I'm gonna move my son to this area because this is a popular area to pursue his music, to pursue what he wants, to get my son successful. Let me put him on the right track. You don't think that you're gonna take him out there and it's gonna turn like this? You don't never think like that. Parents always have a plan for their kids. It's up to them on how it's gonna go.
I tell you what, man, they say you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans. Because you know those plans, they sometimes they don't be planning. But okay, I get it, I get it, right? So we find ourselves here now. We find ourselves here. He recently on the last interview I did, his relationship with his dad has just come so far from, as you said, on that video saying that his dad was dead to now. I don't know if you saw the latest video, but he actually
Yeah, I
told his
have.
dad he loves him. What were your thoughts on that?
I don't know if it's real or false, basically.
Well, they've been communicating recently.
Yeah, and he's been getting still what he wants. As soon as he stops, it'll change again. Like I said, it's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, like father, like son. They're both basically like similar. It's just James is showing you the James that everyone knows in the daylight. But there's a different James as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, listen, we understand that, oftentimes we're going to see people's representatives and not necessarily the full scope of who they are. Which, I'm sure is maybe the same with you as well, right?
Hey, I'm not gonna sugarcoat nothing because I don't care how nobody think about me. You don't like how it is? Oh well, you can find a better solution and a better procedure. Go right ahead, cause show me, cause I've been sticking my neck out for my boys since I've been home.
Okay,
Jobs to
so
jobs, selling my ass. I've been doing it all, trying to make sure we got ends meets, food on the table, nice clothes, Jordans. I've been doing it all on
so
my
you
own.
you've had to sell yourself sexually before,
Of
or you've
course,
done that?
of course. I do what I had to do to come home to take care of my boys. It's hard for a felon to come home with the charges that I had to even get a job.
When did you like eventually get a job or whatever when you came home or one that was decent enough that you could live on? In other words, how long did you have to continue to do stuff like that, or do you still do stuff like that?
Well, let's just say I did a great job because I work for the airport. I'm a passenger assistant,
Okay,
so
so you
I did a great job.
okay, I get it. And hey, listen, I used to work at the airport, so I know you're talking about basically the folks that push people around when they need a wheelchair and things like that, right?
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
yeah, I get it. I get it. So I mean, I understand those are, low paying positions and, the truth is that in this society these days, you just need more. You need a little more. It's just not probably going to be enough. And so I get it. And
Exactly. I'm still gotta go back to school, like and get like they took my CNA license. I used to have CNA license, but of course, once you get a felon, it's over with. There is no more CNA license. There's nothing for you out here but warehouses or like the airport jobs, if you can even get that, because the airport jobs ain't playing either.
you know, you you just mentioned some stuff, right? And so I want to real quick, let me just dive into you real quick. So where are you from?
I'm from Huntington, West Virginia.
Okay, so you're from West Virginia. Okay, okay.
Hmm.
And so, growing up in West Virginia, did you have both mom and your dad in the household?
Yes, I did.
Okay, were they married?
My dad was married to my mother. They was military. My mom was a registered nurse. I ain't want or need nothing in the world.
So you guys
Live.
was firmly like middle class, maybe even slightly upper middle class.
Yep.
Okay, so growing up, do you have brothers and sisters?
Yes, I do have brothers and sisters.
Where are you in the birth order?
I'm the baby.
You're the baby?
Hmm.
How many brothers and sisters do you have?
Oh my God, it's like a good six, seven of us.
That must have
They
been a
all
fun house to
irritate me.
grow up in.
Mm,
So, I mean, growing up, would you say that you had like a fairly normal childhood?
I had a fair childhood. Yes, I am gonna say that. I'm not. I didn't have no 14 karat gold spoon in my mouth, but I had a fair childhood, and
Had
I'm
a
a
good
straight
childhood.
B honor student, and I graduated from high school. I only had some college and some trade school.
So, what was it do you think that made you become sexually active at the ages of, because I'm not sure when did you lose your
I
son away?
mean, I mean,
Because
I
you say you had your first child at like
I
14,
did,
right?
I did, I did have it at 14. That's when them sex education classes was out. And your parent had to sign for you to be in that class. I was just curious George at the time, and it happened.
So did you
Things
go to the
happen.
sex education class or no?
Yeah, and after the
So
sex education class, I wanted to go experiment.
wait a minute.
What?
So the sex
I was
education
curious.
class turned you on?
I was curious. What did I say? I was curious,
Well,
and I
shout
went
out to the '80s,
in.
man. Shout out to the '80s and
Period.
'90s. You hear me?
Period.
Sex
Period.
education class made us turn up.
Right.
Okay. Some people, man, some of those images, that was the first time they ever saw that stuff. So it's like light porn for them.
I
Okay,
wanted to know. My favorite cartoon was Inspector Gadget, so
okay.
I
Go,
wanted to
go,
know.
go, gadget.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, did anything traumatic ever happen to you when you was younger?
I mean, just the loss of my parents, the loss of my dad when I was 8, and then my mom died when I was 18. So, you have to fend
Wow.
for yourself once at an
Wow, I'm so
early
sorry to
age.
hear about that. Yeah, that is I mean 8, that's very young to lose your dad. And
Yeah.
then pretty much when you're graduating from high school, it sounds like is when you lost your mom. I mean, is that pretty much when things got to be,
So real.
financially yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because if my
What
mom and
age?
pops was still living, I would have never, I probably would have never had Josias, honestly, because my dad was just so firm in the house, and he was the man of the household. So I'm just, keeping it 100. Like he was the man in the household, and my mom was the woman. Like, and things went a certain way. But when you're 18 and you graduate from high school and you can't see both of your parents in that stage, yeah, it did something to me a little bit, but I had to put my big girl pennies on and get to living and take care of my son. Josiah's never got to meet my parents. Keyshawn is the only one, which is my oldest son, that
Hmm.
knows his grandparents. And dealing with that, and he was very close to my mother, and him losing her, and us losing her. That was, yeah, it's still tragic to this day. Who wants to lose their mother? Like no one. And it's been over a couple of decades for my mother and my father. But
And so
I
you're
didn't let
saying that
that I didn't let that haunt me enough to where I went down a different road like that, like getting on
well, I was
drugs
about
and
to say you're saying that necessarily didn't result in hard drug use or anything like that.
I mean,
So
smoking weed. I
well,
did.
right,
I
and I
smoked
kind of put
marijuana.
smoking weed and social drinking in a different kind of category than
Then the hard drugs,
alcoholics
right?
or right. You know what I'm saying? Hard drug
Right.
users,
Yeah,
right?
no, not for me. I never was interested in that. Never hung with people like that
So
either.
I mean,
So
what
it's a,
age were you, and what was the general motivation for you? Just because you mentioned about selling yourself and stuff like that. What age were you the first time you did that, and what was the motivation?
I only did that after Josias was already here. It was net when
So
young
that was
days
when
like that.
Josias was a baby, or when he was when
No,
you was going back to get custody once he was
no, that's when I was going back to get
okay.
custody,
So that was
and
later
I
on in
had
life.
to. Yeah, that was later on. That
Okay,
wasn't
so you was
around
a
till the
felon.
lifetime.
You basically didn't have a lot of choices and options, and so you felt like, hey, let me go ahead and do what I gotta do and make sure everything is good. I get it.
Yep, yep.
Okay, I get it. I get it. all right. And so I mean, again, we find ourselves here to this day. It sounds like, your early childhood was decent, but kind of things got, rocky as time went on. And so again, we find ourselves here. What do you have like a plan, or do you have like any type of vision as far as to how you want this situation to turn out?
I really just really want to just come and just face him, like just